Now, Aaron Brown, Harry Wappler weather, Wayne Cody sports, and arts and entertainment specialist John Procaccino. This is Eyewitness News at 11.
Good evening again. A week from tonight, the New Hampshire primary will be over and the political picture a whole lot clearer. But tonight it's a mess, a jumble of possibilities on both sides, but serious political drama on only one, the Republican side, where Vice President Bush's stunning humiliation in Iowa has now changed the tone of the campaign. Senator Bob Dole arrived in New Hampshire a winner. Pat Robertson may have been the surprise, but Dole did win in Iowa. But he also learned today the lesson of political spin, that winning where you're expected to win gets you little attention. George Bush learned just the opposite. He learned that losing where you're expected to do well is a whole lot worse than just losing.
Listen, it's nice to be back in New Hampshire. Believe me, nice hospitable climb.
Bush tried not to dwell on the shock of the Iowa devastation. Instead, he ripped a page out of the Bob Dole Iowa campaign book. George Bush, the former Texas congressman, in New Hampshire today reclaimed his New England roots.
And I'm one of you because in this state there is on the Republican side, steadfast, loyal support for the President of the United States. And I am that. I have that.
But Bush is not the only candidate claiming to be the heir of the Reagan legacy. Dole has done it, and now Pat Robertson, the strong and surprising second in Iowa, is doing it too. Today, Robertson was not in New Hampshire, where yesterday at least he was just an also-ran in the polls. He was in another caucus state, in Minnesota, boosting his followers while bashing the Soviets.
I want some initiatives of our own that will rock them back on their heels, put them on the defensive, and to begin the decolonization of the Soviet Empire.
But in a funny way, the forgotten man in all this does seem to be Dole. All he did was win. And though way behind Bush in New Hampshire with just a week to go, he's the envy of the Republican Party in the presidential campaign. He is a winner, has money now to burn, and the chance, just the chance, to knock George Bush out of the box before the campaign moves south in March. As for the Democrats, no surprises in Iowa means a whole lot less attention in New Hampshire. And in a campaign as long as this one is, they probably are not complaining. The Iowa winner, Richard Gephardt, arrived in New Hampshire, pumped up as always, but there are doubts his message of trade protectionism and support for farmers will work on New Hampshire's mostly yuppie Democrats. Paul Simon has money problems, leaving New Hampshire to Massachusetts Governor Mike Dukakis with a huge New Hampshire lead a week before the vote. He'll be tough to beat in a state that in part seems like suburban Boston.
Governor Dukakis did what he had to do pre-New Hampshire to make damn certain that he was credible in New Hampshire.
As for the others, Albert Gore will show, but that's about all in New Hampshire. He's looking south, so is Jesse Jackson, who had a better night in Iowa than expected. As for Bruce Babbitt, the end is near. Money is short, and roses rarely go to the fifth-place candidate. And then there is Gary Hart, who is embarrassed in Iowa, but just might fare better next week. And then beginning tomorrow on this program, a series of reports on the forces that are shaping the campaign in New Hampshire. I spent last week there. We'll begin our series at 6:30 tomorrow and again at 11. New Hampshire Notebook begins tomorrow night. In other news, the Panamanian government, led by General Manuel Noriega, is calling for the withdrawal of all American troops that are in his country. The United States has its largest Central American base in Panama, and it rejected Noriega's demand. Noriega is more than just a little bit miffed at the United States after being indicted in Florida on drug-selling charges. Today, his former Chief of Staff, Jose Blandón, told the Senate how Noriega received CIA information, political and personal information about Americans visiting Panama.
You also have information about Senator Kennedy?
We had information to the effect, well, stating his political position and his own personal problems. We had all types of information on him.
That is as fundamentally wrong and damaging and dangerous a move as I think I've heard of since I've been in public life.
And Blandón told how Noriega, while on the CIA payroll, did work for Fidel Castro, sold guns to leftist rebels in El Salvador.
These are speculative remarks made by a man who has a problem politically and has no corroboration for any of these statements.
Yeah, the CIA and the National Security Council both denied that they provided private or personal information to Noriega about any American politician. In New York, Robert Chambers is accused of killing Jennifer Levin. Just your average murder? No, not hardly. He is a graduate of the finest prep schools, and it's one of those cases that has a little bit of everything: violence, death, and sex. And today, over the objections of both defense lawyers and prosecutors, the judge released the tape of the statement Chambers made to police the day after Ms. Levin's death. Chambers has claimed the death was an accident, that it occurred during what he called rough sex in New York Central Park. This is the statement he made to police. It is just a bit graphic.
And she wrapped her underwear around my wrists so they were locked, and they were behind my back because I was leaning on my hand. And she just pushed me back like this and then got on top of my chest, and she was facing my feet. And she began taking off my pants, and then she squeezed off, and it really hurt, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I was screaming in pain, and I managed to get my left hand free. So I kind of sat up a little and just grabbed at her, and I just pulled her, and she kind of flipped over on the side near the tree. So I got really scared, and I just kind of like went into my own little daze. So I mean, I never meant to hurt her or anything. I just wanted to go home. That was the whole point.
This is a case that has drawn an enormous amount of attention for all the obvious reasons. It has also drawn the attention of victim assistance groups. They have protested the defense tactics, saying that the defense is trying to put Jennifer Levin on trial, not her accused killer. We have much more to tell you about tonight. The details of yet another bad accident on Seattle's First South Bridge. Also tonight, divers check on that oil barge that is now underwater off the coast of Anacortes. Plus, SeaTac officials say, hey, not our fault the airport ranks so low on the on-time arrivals in the government's report card. An explanation when we come back.
Of Eyewitness News at 11 is brought to you by Frederick & Nelson, one of the great department stores.
Now, Estee Lauder Laboratories takes skin care as far as our modern technology can go. Introducing Future Perfect Micro-Targeted Skin Gel. This microsome formula gives your skin the luminosity of younger skin. Digitized image analysis developed for the space program shows the actual improvement in the appearance of lines, wrinkles, and smoothness. Try it and feel the future working for you. Now at Frederick & Nelson.
Could you spend $11,000 in 6 hours? All you need is this, the Magic 108 Gold Card. Win it, and you're off on a once-in-a-lifetime shopping spree. $11,000. 6 hours. And your Magic 108 Gold Card. Think you could spend $11,000 in 6 hours? To find out more, listen tomorrow morning at 7:15 to Magic 108 FM.
Don't miss the biggest sale of its kind this President's Day weekend. Northwest Auto Fest. 4 big days of unbelievable savings. 18 brands of new cars and trucks, including Cadillac, Oldsmobile, Ford, Hyundai, Chrysler, Dodge, Chevrolet, Jeep, Nissan, Mazda, and more. Bring your title and payment book, have your credit approved on the spot, and drive home in your new car or truck. That's the Northwest Auto Fest, starting Friday, February 12th, in the south parking lot at Northgate. Be there.
Hi, I'm Andy Russo, and I'd like you to meet a fighter, KIRO Eyewitness.
Thanks, Andy. When you purchase Back-A-Fighter products from your local supermarket, you'll be helping people like me lead fuller, more independent lives through the Easter Sales Society.
Look for the Back-A-Fighter emblem on participating products and help back a fighter for Easter seals.
Have a heart and back a fighter. They'll make you proud as you watch them win the fight.
See 40 homes in 30 minutes on John L. Scott's Quality Street Showcase of Homes, Saturdays at 3:30 p.m.
Seattle police are looking for anyone who might have witnessed a serious accident on the First South Bridge around 8 o'clock tonight. The accident closed the bridge for about an hour. Investigators say a yellow car traveling southbound crossed the center line, hitting a northbound vehicle. The man driving the yellow car was seriously hurt. The woman driving the other car is in satisfactory condition. Both are at Harborview tonight. Names not yet been released. Police say they'd like to talk to witnesses who may have information on what happened before the southbound car crossed the center line. Near Anacortes tonight, divers spent much of the evening in the water checking on the condition of that sunken oil barge, which looks like it will stay underwater for a while. Divers used this evening's slack tide to see if the cables that will be used to lift the barge to the surface are cutting into the hull, allowing the heavy oil, which does not float to the surface, to spill out. Because the only crane capable of lifting the barge is doing another job, the barge will stay put, at least until the end of this week. It would appear to be an uphill battle in the attempt to raise the state's minimum wage by only 2 votes. The State House approved a plan increasing the minimum wage from its current $2.30 to $4.24. The measure now goes on to the Senate, where its chances are considered pretty slim. SeaTac airport officials are a little miffed at the latest government figures on the best and the worst of the nation's airports. In December's report, SeaTac finished second to the bottom for on-time arrivals. But at the Port of Seattle, which runs the airport, the word tonight is, hey, this is a bad rap. SeaTac is getting blamed for snow in Minneapolis and Chicago and Denver. Their weather is making our airport look bad. Jeff Burnside sorts it out.
If you're flying to SeaTac like these passengers just did, you have about a 50-50 chance of getting here on time. 50-50.
We just got in about 45 minutes late coming in from Orange County.
The government says both New York airports ranked first and second in percentage of flights arriving on time, followed by Miami and Washington. But Denver, SeaTac, and San Francisco round out the bottom of the 27 largest airports. Here's the reason SeaTac may have ranked so poorly. Seattle gets airline routes through hubs like Minneapolis, Chicago, and Denver, cities that are often snowed in. When a flight can't leave on time, it certainly can't arrive at SeaTac on time. The SeaTac scorecard doesn't explain that. And the reverse is true, too. Airlines sometimes sit at SeaTac waiting for Denver or Chicago to open. Even so, the SeaTac scorecard says delay. SeaTac officials say the federal government ranking is a dog and pony show and gives SeaTac undeserved lumps.
Well, you're always concerned about a reputation problem. You know, being an airport in which you're going to get here late, you never want that reputation.
Well, so far so good on the reputation. Travel agents now have the on-time information in their computers.
It's not even relevant. No one asks about it and they're not aware of it.
Be aware, though, of SeaTac's departure record. 69.6% of the flights left on time. That's above the national average. And it means Seattle crews took late-arriving aircraft and readied them for departure quickly.
One airport official said sooner or later, SeaTac is probably going to ask the federal government to back off. Either make those on-time scorecards more accurate, or don't make them at all. Jeff Burnside, KIRO News.
That ought to have federal officials quaking, I guess. I guess public consumption. Hi there.
Hi, Aaron. We've got some potential problems at SeaTac tomorrow. I say potential because it's fog. We only have 1.5 mile visibility there now. It may not really get any worse than that overnight, but I wanted you to at least put a kind of idea in your head if you're traveling early tomorrow morning. More on the weather when I come back. Look at the weekend, too.
Also coming up in this half hour, big night in sports. Sonic's down in Portland. 2 movie reviews in one, plus yet another big storm hits Britain. We'll show you that one when we come back.
If you're an owner of an import car, Chevrolet has some valuable news for you. If you add up all the features and qualities of the new Chevy Nova, then subtract $1,200 cash back that Nova now offers, you come up with the only answer for your next car, Chevy Nova.
The heartbeat of America, that's today's Chevrolet.
As automakers, we set some of the world's most rigid standards for the protection of our engines. And only one motor oil surpasses all U.S. warranty requirements for engine protection
for every weight it sells, and that's Pennzoil. To protect your engine and your warranty, choose Pennzoil.
Pennzoil.
Pennzoil. Pennzoil. Pennzoil. It's world-class protection.
You know, Mick, I love the Le Chalet Cafe. It's only 10 minutes from downtown Seattle, and it's got a great feel to it, like a hideaway.
You know, Tim, our customers think so, too. I have an interesting letter. The Le Chalet Cafe is the perfect hideaway. Let's keep it a secret. Whenever I'm in town, I'll drop in.
Who wrote that?
D.B. Cooper.
I don't believe it.
The Le Chalet Cafe, where your enjoyment is guaranteed. Always.
Aloha, I'm Ed Hogan, owner of Pleasant Wine Holidays. Why do we call it pleasant? First, you get a pleasant, affordable price for a week in Waikiki that includes airfare and hotel. Plus, you get a pleasant greeting, a pleasant trip to and from your hotel, and pleasant people always on hand to assist you.
What a pleasant way to go to Hawaii.
Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. See your travel agent. We make paradise affordable.
4 days of car and truck savings, 18 brands, Buick, Pontiac, BMW, and more. This weekend on the South parking lot at Northgate. It's Northwest Auto Fest.
Sudden and violent storm is being blamed for 2 deaths in the British Isles. Winds up to 100 miles an hour. Lashed parts of Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. That about covers it. Many people reported without power still tonight. Second freak storm to hit Britain in about 4 months. The last one, as I recall it, Harry, hit London. Came right through the center of town.
It did, Aaron. Yeah. Winds as strong as that. I remember the reading of television hearing of 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Well, I know, but you heard it from me.
That's right.
Yeah.
I sit here, I pay close attention. Now, last night we had some gusty winds around here, maybe 25, 30 miles an hour.
I heard that from you.
That's right. And they cleaned up the air beautifully today. Good air quality. Tonight, though, it's a different story. The wind has died down, and the air is so full of moisture that fog has begun to form. The observation at the airport has just come in. I'd like to share that with you. We show mostly cloudy skies, fog, and 45 degrees with 100% relative humidity. The visibility is down to 1.5 miles. Wind south at 3 and the barometer rising, 30.33. Very stable air over us, and that is very conducive to the formation of fog. The high temperature today was 46. The low, 45 degrees. Normals 48 and 37, and the records are 62 and 27. The rain gauge had a bit in it today, 0.15 of an inch. You had to go out to the coast to get over a half an inch, however. And for the month and the year, we are still behind, especially for the year to date, over 3 inches behind, 3.1 to be exact. Now, will we get some more rain over the next couple of days? Well, the answer to that really is yes. Next 24 hours, we should see some light rain, still about the same amounts we had today, anywhere from like a quarter to a half an, or 0.15 to a half an inch. And then you'll start to see this ridge of high pressure build more into the area on Thursday and block the storm track, sending it farther north. There were some holes in the clouds in eastern Washington today. Yakima got to 52 degrees, so it really is a very pleasant day if you're under one of those holes. But for us, this flow pattern across the Pacific keeps us really in the soup, and we're not expecting to see much in the way of sunshine at all tomorrow. Notice the pattern over the past 24 hours. The clouds streaming over the top of the ridge of high pressure. That's why we have clouds and rain, even though the barometer is high, which you may wonder about, thinking, hey, I thought I had to have a low barometer with rain. Well, you don't. You can have it in this case when the moisture comes over the top of the ridge of high pressure. The ridge is building in here enough to cut the moisture off by Thursday, but the whole system out here begins to slide toward us on Friday, so we'll be back in the rain again by that day. Some interesting temperatures to share with you here. 43 below zero at Northway in Alaska. That certainly takes the Icicle Award for any place. The frying pan is not Honolulu with 83, nor Los Angeles with 85, which actually breaks a record going back to 1907, but it is at San Gabriel and Monrovia, California with 88 degrees. You do the arithmetic on this, 88 and 43, the difference between the two, it turns out to be 131 degrees. That 8 up there, by the way, is Great Falls, Montana. Cold there. Here's our forecast. Tonight, light rain, local fog, lows in the 40s, south-southwesterly winds. Tomorrow, occasional rain. There'll be some fog, especially morning hours. The highs upper 40s to low 50s. Still a very mild, cloudy type of day. A glimpse of sun is possible on Thursday. We'll all be shocked if that happens. Rain back by Friday and again on Sunday. Temperatures, notice, stay above average throughout the period.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kind of nice today. I liked it.
Very peaceful day. Get a lot done.
No, I didn't get anything done, but I played good tennis, and that's close enough.
I see.
Oh. Thank you. You know, if I remember the Sonic season last year, they came off the All-Star break and lost about 8 in a row.
That's exactly right. Is that on my script?
No, it's not on your script.
Sounds like something I'd say.
Stuff.
Oh, you know this stuff, huh?
I do know this stuff.
Yeah, they're right. Exact same record tonight that they had 1 year ago tonight.
But they're a better team this year.
I think so. We hope so. They didn't prove it tonight. Sonics travel to Portland. Full night of NBA highlights, plus the best of the National Hockey League, the All-Star game, and the best in AAA action tonight. Sports is next. Don't touch that dial.
If working out at home isn't working out at all, call the new Pacific West Clubs. We'll help you work out a plan you can live with. Join now on a one-year membership and save 50% on the initiation fee.
Ever since your post office invented express mail overnight delivery, others have tried to copy our eagle. But it's not so easy. Because express mail has overnight reliability that's close to perfect, the most convenient locations, and prices as low as $10.75. Most others charge you about twice that. So if you want a combination of low prices, convenience, and reliability no one can imitate, use the original express mail service from your post office.
America's winners are at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers now. Get our biggest cash back ever. $2,500 cash back on Chrysler New Yorker Turbo. $1,500 cash back on Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Or $1,000 cash back on Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Let your Chrysler Plymouth dealer make you one of America's winners.
Good night, hon.
Why is it that after a couple of years,
Good night, hon.
your mattress sags and sags?
Good night, hon.
Because it's not a beauty rest. Our unique barrel-shaped coils of high-carbon steel are pre-compressed to eliminate sag, to give you a firm, comfortable mattress that can't sag, so that your beauty rest
Good night, hon.
will stay as firm as the day
Good night,
you
hon.
bought it. Beauty Rest by Simmons. Forever firm.
See Simmons Beauty Rest at Midway Furniture and Federal Way.
Anytime, you'll hear your favorite music on KSEA 100.7 FM.
Tonight's Play of the Day segment is brought to you by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you.
So what's the deal with this Sam Vincent trade, which didn't sound all that great to me anyway, but I read in the paper today it's a done deal.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a done deal, but it's not a done deal, and I'll explain why.
Well, thank you.
You ready? No problem. Sonics opened the second half of the season, one of the busiest teams in the NBA all day long. The rumor mill was turning out really at full tilt that Sam Vincent was going to go to Milwaukee for guard John Lucas. However, sources in Milwaukee tonight told us that the Bucks coach Del Harris said the deal is off. Apparently, the Sonics' salary cap was the snag. So the Sonics refocused their attention in the basketball court tonight, and they took on the Trailblazers down in Portland. Bernie Bickerstaff and the Sonics were trying to break up a 4-game losing streak, but the night belonged to Portland's Kiki Vandeweghe. He came off the bench to really light it out. How hot was he? Take a look at the buzzer beater to give the Blazers a big lead at the first half. And in the second half, well, Portland came out running. Clyde Drexler. Oh, is he tough? Tom Chambers did everything that he could to keep the Sonics close, but the night really did belong to Vandeweghe, as his 33 points paced Portland to a 139-123 win over the Sonics. That is 5 straight losses for the Soups. Both the Sonics and Portland, they were looking for some help tonight from Jack Ramsey and the Indiana Pacers, who were in the Forum to take on the Lakers. Steve Stepanovich and the Pacers controlled the tempo throughout most of the game. But the Lakers, they made a run for it, led by, guess who, Magic Johnson. They cut the lead to 2 with time running out. The Lakers had the ball in some time, but Byron Scott's jumper missed, and the Pacers act like they just won the NBA Finals. A big win for them in the Forum as they win at 110-108. Around the rest of the Pacific Division, it was Phoenix over the Clippers and the Warriors down Sacramento. In the Midwest, Dallas spanked Utah, but Denver did the same to San Antonio. The Nuggets are still 2 games out. Elsewhere, Milwaukee over Cleveland. The Pistons beat the Bulls. The Bullets in overtime, and the Rockets by 9 over the Celtics. In the other game tonight, new Philadelphia coach Jim Lynam got his indoctrination as Charles Barkley put 47 points on the board to give the Sixers the lead late in the game. But wait a minute. Dominique Wilkins had 49, including a game winner off a beautiful pass by Scott Hastings, and Atlanta hands the Sixers' new coach his first loss, 112-110, the final. In prep action at home tonight, the #1 ranked team in AAA was in action, Foss High School of Tacoma, and they hosted Lincoln. But the Foss fans were silent in the early going as Lincoln really had things going their way, cruising to a 6-point halftime lead. But the mark of a good team is its ability to come from behind. And that's what Foss did as they hit the shots and they got the break going, and they came away with an 86-64 win. Foss should definitely keep that #1 ranking. Well, for the 37th time in history, the best of the Wales Conference took on the best of the Campbell Conference in the National Hockey League All-Star Game. And tonight it was a one-man show in St. Louis. All the coaches and players could do was just kind of sit back and watch Pittsburgh's Penguins' Mario Lemieux. Lemieux had 2 goals, 2 assists, and the teams were tied at 5 heading into overtime. Well, in the extra period, only a minute had gone by. Lemieux gets the loose puck, puts it in. 3 goals, 3 assists, the player of the game. Look out, Wayne Gretzky. There's a new great one in the National Hockey League. Well, your entire day builds to this point, I know. You begin to feel kind of dizzy.